Hi, I'm Stephanie Laska. I lost 140 pounds and created Dirty Lazy Keto. Thanks for joining me here on the YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and enjoy the show. Well, keto diet meal prep tips for one. Just for one today. One person. Are you practicing keto diet alone? Are you preparing meals by yourself? I want to know, because that is our hot topic for today. Keto diet meal prep tips for one. So it's easier than you think. I know sometimes people get really worked up, like, I got a plan. I got to do this. I got to do that. Okay, calm down. I'm going to help you through this. I'm going to give you lots of realistic, practical, hands-on visual examples, and also talk you through and describe all of my tips today. So that way you're walking away from today's episode about keto diet meal prep tips for one, and you're ready to go. So I want you to have some fresh ideas and also just feel more invigorated, more inspired. I got you covered. So today I'm going to walk away with eight. Oh, I have a giant number 8. Ready? I like the dramatic. Here I am. It's stuck. My big balloon. Here we go. Just so you remember what we're doing. We're going to do 8 tips. So you can count with me and you can tell me which tip is new to you. Tell me which tip is something you might be willing to try. And as always, I pick people from the comments potentially to win a prize. So get involved and hopefully participate. I like that. Makes it kind of fun, right? Where we're like talking together like friends. That's how it should be. You're not alone on this, and I'm here to help you. So even if you're doing the keto diet just for one person or prepping for one person, know that I'm right here at your side always. So ready for strategy number 1? Strategy number 1 is to get creative. Now, I have been waiting for a really long time for some kind of podcast where I could put on a beret. Today's the day, folks. There we go. There it is. I have a few of these in different colors, and you don't really have an opportunity to wear a beret very often, do you? At least I don't. Well, today's my day. So number 1, my first strategy for keto diet meal prep solo, doing it by yourself, is to be a little bit creative. Think outside the box. If you are the creative type, and some of these, cutesy little ideas appeal to you, like on Pinterest. You know what I'm talking about, right? The bell jars, the bento boxes. Okay. I mean, some of that, if it appeals to you, run with it, do it, feel proud. These are wooden, by the way. I'm not telling you to eat rice. This is my daughter when she was little. It's like, practice how to use chopsticks. Isn't that cute? It's a little set and just a play food. But anyway, the point is, if you like that sort of thing and you like the bento box, the bell jar, making it all fancy and pretty, go for it. You can do that. You can get creative, but you don't have to. See, I think there's a lot of pressure when you are doing any kind of word meal prep. Whenever that word is being thrown around, people get really stressed. Like, if it's some kind of meal prep, that means it has to be all fancy and perfect, and it has to be exact and picture worthy, and I have to post it on social. No, you don't. You can just be creative at home without anyone seeing you. I'll show you what I actually do, and I consider this very creative. So you can laugh at me if you want. But what I do is I prep ingredients instead of prepping an entire dish. I think that's a strategy that you can use. For example, here is some, it smells so good. I can still smell, despite having a cold. This is a fresh cilantro. And as soon as I get my fresh spices home from the store, when I buy them, if they're on sale, I wash them and I lay them out to dry on a paper towel. And then I just throw the spices, like the herbs, I throw them in a Ziploc with the paper towel, zip it up, throw it in my fridge, and I'm ready to go. They're already good. I don't have to wash them and did a bit and look for them. I just yank them off, throw them in a soup or throw them in an enchilada or whatever I'm making. They're here. Another thing I consider to be creative for myself for a meal prep for one person is I just get some ingredients prepped up. That way, when I'm striking the mood to cook, I already have my onions kind of pre-sliced. I've already got, for example, celery. I'm ready to go in little Ziplocs. I might also dice celery and put that also in a small Ziploc. And I might put things in little Tupperwares. You can do you. Do you prefer Tupperware? Do you prefer glass? Do you prefer a cutesy thing you do? Let me know. Or do you prefer a Ziploc? Did I say that? What do you prefer? How do you like to get your ingredients ready? Here's some fresh jalapenos already diced up. here's the thing, you guys, when you have all the stuff ready to go, when it's at your fingertips and you've already done, it can be glass jars, Tupperware, bags, any of these kinds of meal prep for the little ingredients, coming together and being creative and putting on that beret, putting on your creative chef hat, it's a heck of a lot easier to then look at what's already ready to go and then think to yourself, okay, what do I want to make? What do I got? Okay, I got this, I got this, I got this. Okay, I could make a soup, or I could make tacos tonight, or I could make enchiladas, or I could make eggs, an omelet. I don't know. Having it all right in front of you, it allows your creativity to spark. So think about that. That is strategy number 1. Put on your beret. Instead of stressing about making it all beautiful and perfect, which you can do if you want, think about just prepping all of the ingredients and then doing like a little buffet line, or just having it in front of you to get you inspired. So I'm going to toss these aside. Reach down. Hopefully I won't need them again because I don't have to crawl on the floor. It all fell down. So that's strategy number 1. But seriously, it makes it a lot easier. And a pro tip for advanced people out there. Here's my pro tip. When you're cutting and prepping all these individual ingredients, like I said with the celery, do some of your ingredients 2 different ways. So for example, the celery minced versus the celery spears, that we have 2 different things you can play with. Chicken in tiny bits or just chicken breasts ready to go. Do you see that? That way you can play with it and have different meals inspire you for the week. It's very helpful, and for snacks too. So what ingredients do you prep every week? Hopefully someone will share. Will you put that in the comments? Is there any other ingredients that you get ready once a week? Maybe on the weekend or when you first come home from the store? I hope that you'll share it, because that might give someone an idea. Like, that's not a big deal. That's meal prep? I didn't know there was meal prep. So please share that in the comments. I think that's really inspiring to see what everyone's doing. And it makes you think, oh yeah, I could do that too. So we talked about we're going to do 8 strategies for our meal prep tip for one person. And that was the first strategy. So we're going to go a little faster. Number 2 is what I call grab and go. So here is a fantastic strategy for you. If you saw these at Costco, you are just like me. This was in the Costco ad this month. Maybe they've been out for a while, but I saw them and I was like, oh, I love this. It's by Glad. And they're just these little disposable, reusable, plasticky meals for one in containers with the top. And it was all about meal prep. It was in the Costco circular. But I'm sure they sell these at other grocery stores and Target as well. And right, it doesn't have to be disposable. Wash it, reuse it, people. Be good to the planet. But don't pressure yourself to be so fabulous. Yes, we all love those people on the internet with their bento box prep and their tackle box. I see that too. Super cute. But you can also just do the plastic Glad wrap and get a gold star from me. So I bought a whole bunch of these at Costco, and I was really inspired for this week's podcast. I thought, this is amazing. Let's do it. Right? Yes, you're thinking so. Yes, yes, yes. I feel like my camera just got a little blurry, so I'm going to go like that. Hopefully it'll get back in sync. Okay, that looks good. But you know what else I like about these, you guys, aside from the cost and the little tininess and the cuteness and the novelty? I really like how if you're tired, you're in a rush, you can just grab it out of the fridge, full of food, of course. You don't have to think about it. So it's super convenient. But I also like the portion control because it's not very big, right? So it's not like you can go too crazy with whatever it is you put inside. Because I don't know about you guys, but I have this whole like finish the plate mentality. Does anyone else have that? Just me? I do. Whatever's on my plate, I'll eat it. It doesn't matter how hungry I am. I'll just be like, okay, it's on my plate. So I'm going to, I'm just going to keep eating. I just keep going. And I can't be the only one out there. I know I say that a lot, but I don't want you guys to feel alone if that sounds like you. So for me, having a smaller pre-portioned amount of food can be a great idea when you're meal prepping for one, because there's a stopping point. You feel me? So portion control, and it also helps with the finish your plate concept. And it is great for convenience when you're in a hurry, when you're tired. Also, you can kind of do it when you're in a better frame of mind. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's say it's Sunday morning or Monday morning or whenever it is you tend to do your stuff. And you're like, I'm going to eat a lot of vegetables this week. And you get all serious, committed, and full of willpower. So you go out to the store and you buy a big giant container of cauliflower or broccoli or asparagus or whatever it is you're buying. salads, and you're like, I'm gonna eat it all. I'm gonna do it. And then you put it in, you prep it, right? You make it, and then you fill up all your little meal containers with the amount of vegetable that you hopefully will eat. And then lo and behold, it becomes so convenient when you grab it and you go and it's there, right? And you're tired, you'll tend to eat it. So that's it's the Clean Plate Club can actually go both ways. It can hurt you if there's too much yucky stuff on there, but it can also help you if there's vegetables or healthier things that you're trying to do better at. So there you go. Ta-da! I'll step that aside. So that was number 2. We're moving. What do you guys like to meal prep? Is there a food or an ingredient that you tend to do? Is there something that you're doing already? Can you please share it with us? Don't be shy. Let us know what is working for you or where you're at or what your struggles are. That way everyone can kind of chime in and help problem solve or celebrate you and go, amen, sister, gold star to her. So please share. Step number 3, or strategy number 3 rather, is, this one's kind of funny, I guess. I think it's funny. I had to go out in my backyard for it. But I want you to slow your roll. Isn't this the cutest ball? I saw it and I'm like, oh, I got to put that in there. It's adorable. So pretty. Slow your roll when it comes to meal planning. I know that's opposite of what maybe you're telling yourself. Like, oh, I got to do 50 meals. I got to load up the freezer. I got to do the bit. Got to make 8,000 things and cook all day Sunday, all day Monday. No, you don't. Slow down, slow your roll. And actually, I want you to lower your expectations and limit the amount of meal prep that you do. I know you're like, what is she talking about? Seriously, that is my advice for you. I think it's a great strategy when you're prepping for a solo person. Don't overdo it. Don't overstress yourself out with so much expectations to the point where it becomes miserable. You don't want to do it. You quit. You get tired of the food. 101 other things. But if you slow your roll and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to do 2 or 3 meals, or I'm going to do 2 or 3 sides, or 2 or 3 meats. That's doable. That is totally doable. And you're much more likely to do it because you're not so stressed out like trying to be all perfect with your bento box and your tackle box. It's super cute if you can do that. Do. I'm not scolding you or making fun of you, but it definitely makes you much more likely to come through for yourself, right? When the expectations are lower. Anyway, that's what I think. I mentioned a prize today, and I want to tell you that I'm going to give away. I didn't bring the wheel down because I specifically want to give away some of these peel and stick Dirty Lazy Keto wall clings because I think this is a great tool for what we're talking about today. See, they peel and stick. They go on your fridge or your wall, your closet, wherever you want, your cabinet. And you can use one of these dry erase markers that you have at your house. Pick one up at Target. And you can write your 2 to 3 meal prep ideas for the week. Like Monday, I'm going to make chicken. A whole bunch of chicken. Big giant pot of chicken. That's 1. 2, I'm going to cut up some celery in various shapes and sizes. 3, I'm going to what? What are you going to do? You tell me. Put it down. Go to the grocery store and buy something at the deli because I'm going to cheat for number 3. That's okay too. Come up with 3 strategies. Write them on this. I will, if you want to win one of these, put it in the comments or just keep talking and I'll choose some folks to win. And I'll mail it right to you. And then you can take pictures and put it on social if you want. Tag me and I'll go, good job. All of us will because we'll be proud of you for following through for yourself. Now, there's a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes when it comes to meal planning. Don't feel like you have to do it all. If you want to get some Tupperware, these are fun. They're by Rubbermaid. They're sectioned. Again, I showed some glass ones earlier. You can be old school with the Ziploc. No one's going to judge you. As long as you're prepping a few things, that's called meal prepping for 1. It is. You get a gold star for that. Don't overthink it. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to go more than that, that's fine. Here is another suggestion for you. Moving into bucket 2, moving right along. This is idea number 4, is when it comes to meal prepping for 1 person, a lot of times people struggle with, well, what do I make? Does that sound like you? Well, what do I make? Like, okay, you got me convinced. It's easy. I'm going to do 2 to 3 things, but what do I make? Like, I need some ideas. So my recommendation for you is to keep a little folder, either like old school, like paper. It can be a folder, piece of paper, a notebook. It can be on your phone, on the notes section. I do that a lot. Or it can be as simple as just taking pictures of stuff. Look, here's my phone example. Remember this? The flip phone. But you could even just have pictures in your phone of different recipes or different meals that you've made. Make a little folder, recipes for one, and keep your ideas in one spot. That way, when you get stressed and you're like, well, I want to meal prep for one, but I don't know what to make, and I forget what's good, and I forget what I like. Keep a little file, people. It's very helpful. Now, do you want my cheat sheet? You're like, well, Stephanie, I don't know what to put. Okay. Well, I put together my list. It is going to be in Extra Easy Keto. I put a bunch of cheat sheets in here because I know everybody wants cheat sheets. I do. I love cheat sheets, and I'm the teacher. So look for that in Extra Easy Keto. It's the new book. It's coming out May 2023. 7 Days to Ketogenic Weight Loss on a Low Carb Diet. It's going to be an audio, ebook, and audiobook. But there'll be a cheat sheet. Lots of cheat sheets on everything, like cheat sheet for fruit, cheat sheet for high protein, low carb foods, cheat sheets for vegetables, cheat sheets for everything. It's all in there with pictures. Want it to be extra easy. Extra easy. That's why I put the light. Extra easy. So that, okay, shameless plug. That was number 4. Keep your Rolodex and your ideas close at hand to inspire you. Ready for number 5? We're moving. Number 5. High five. You commenting? We're not done yet. Number 5 is avoid boredom. It's very important when you're keto prepping for just yourself, for one person, is to avoid boredom. You might say, oh, I'm not worth all that trouble. I'll just eat the same thing all week long. I'll just buy one thing and just, eat it all week and that's fine. No, don't do that. Do not eat the same thing every day because that is boring and it might make you angry and resentful and sad. And then it makes you want to quit. Plus, it makes you not want to eat the food. You're looking at it like, I had that yesterday. I had it 2 days ago. I get it. But you don't want to be wasteful at the same time, right? So here is my suggestion for you to avoid boredom, is to reboot. Reboot some of these foods. And I'm showing you an electrical cord, because this is all I could think of, was rebooting my computer. So find a way to prep one dish for yourself, for one person, but make enough that you can still enjoy it again and again, but in different ways. Reboot it into a different type of entree or side dish. Now, if that's confusing to you or you're like, what is she talking about? I want to give you some specific examples. So if you have your copy of the Dirty Lazy Keto Dirt Cheap Cookbook, this was a central theme in this cookbook because I really want to make recipes affordable and cooking less wasteful. I want you to be able to make a recipe for under $10 and be able to eat it multiple days or reinvent it and reboot it into a different recipe. So I'll give you an example. Like today's pork chop. You can make pork chops tonight for dinner. Make 2. It's just for you, but you're going to make an extra one. And then tomorrow, instead of having a pork chop that's left over and you're like, oh, that's terrible, you are going to reboot it with the idea of, and the recipe here, of making it into pork fried rice. And this is on page 120. I got to look at my glasses. I have 133 in my notes, but it's 122. Look at that. I was off. 122. Good thing I put my glasses on. Here we go. Page 122. This is payday pork fried rice. And it looks just like fried rice that you might get from Chinese delivery, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And it tastes just as good. But I have all sorts of ideas throughout this cookbook that are noted with a blue arrow circle, kind of like recycle. You know where the arrows go up and curve and then down and curve. And they're noted at the top of recipes. So if you see that little icon at the very tippy top on a recipe inside the Dirty Lazy Keto Dirt Cheap Cookbook, that means that there is a like a sister recipe where you can reinvent that item for another meal. And the notes are here on the side. It says tips and options, and it tells you where to go for the sister recipe. So I know, right? Isn't that fun? So make sure you check that out. It's a fun way to not get bored and also meal prep for one time, but then also for 2 times. It's sneaky, right? I think it's helpful. I do that a lot with my family, and they have no idea. They're like, this is an amazing and tray of enchiladas. You did so much work today. And I'm like, mm-hmm. And they don't even know that we had like roasted chicken the night before, like from Costco. And then I just shredded the chicken breast and rolled up some like Egg Life tortilla type shape wrappers and put enchilada sauce and cheese and baked it. They're like, this is fantastic. You worked so hard. And I'm like, yeah, I did. But really, I took a big cheating step by reinventing and rebooting an ingredient from the day before. So lots of tips in there. So if you do you like lazy cooking tips like this? Do you like this kind of theme? Please let me know in the comments. And also, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to link up a video right after this for more lazy keto meal prep tips. And the next video will be called Easy Keto Diet Cooking Tips for Beginners. So not necessarily for one person, but just easy keto diet cooking tips for beginners. So that'll play right after this. Just keep watching. Keep watching. Okay. So we're on number 6. We're moving along. We're moving along. Can I get a gold star for that? Are we awake? I don't see a lot of comments. I'm waiting. Looking for those comments so I can pick a winner here. I'm going to choose some gold star folks. So tip number 6, you guys, is the Kiss lipstick. It's my Kiss strategy. Now you're like, what is she talking about? Why is she holding up lipstick? What is the KISS strategy? Do you know what KISS stands for? Like in writing, I guess I was a teacher before, so I tend to use a lot of things that I did when I was in the classroom. But what does KISS stand for? Do you know? Put it in the comments. Anyone? You might win a prize. You might win a prize. But KISS is an acronym that stands for Keep It Simple, Stephanie. We won't say that other one. But keep it simple, silly, or keep it simple, Stephanie. But keep it simple. That's the bottom line. So if you are looking at a recipe in, let's say, the Dirt Cheap Cookbook or any of the recipes that you have on hand, keep it simple when you are starting to downsize it or trying to recalculate all of the measurements to make it just for yourself. So I'm going to tell you how to keep it simple. I want to walk you through this. A lot of people email me and they'll say, okay, Stephanie, I got your cookbook and I was all excited, and then I want to make this delicious looking tomato soup. I can't believe we can have tomato soup on keto. I can't wait to make it. But I see here in the comments, Stephanie, your recipe is for 6 people, and I don't want to cook for 6 people because it's just me. What do I do? How do I approach this? Is that ever a question you have? Because I get that quite a bit, so much so that I have like notes on my phone on how to respond to people quickly. But I want to do it here to help you guys. So if you are trying to downsize a recipe, instead of trying to go like from 6 down to 5, down to 4, and you're 1/6 the recipe and point this, that's too confusing. Keep it simple. Do the lipstick, the keep it simple lipstick thing you do that I'm recommending, the strategy, and instead just cut it in half. Cut it in half. Not the 4th, not the 6th, just cut it in half. Now you're like, why? Why am I doing that? The reason why is cutting anything in half is way easier. You're going to be much more likely to succeed and not make an error if you just cut the ingredients, cut everything in half. It's going to be less frustrating. You're going to make less errors when you're trying to downsize recipes. And doing this little cutting in half strategy, it's going to open up all sorts of cookbooks and recipes for you on the internet, and also the DLK cookbooks, more than just buying a cookbook for one. And we know they're out there, but you can do this on your own. You don't have to go buy a special cookbook for one, even though you might want it. It's easy to just cut a regular recipe in half. Let me show you how, okay? So we talked about the tomato soup recipe. By the way, it's on page 89 if you want to follow along of the Dirt Cheap Cookbook, the Dirty Lazy Keto Dirt Cheap Cookbook. It's a second out of 4. There's 4 cookbooks. This one was second. You can get them in any order, so don't stress out. Different themes. They don't overlap. My camera keeps going out. It's weird. Anyway, this is what you do. Just go down the ingredient list, okay? I know I'm talking a lot about this, but I get this question a lot. So I want to make sure to address it so everyone feels comfortable. But just get your pencil out, print out your email with the recipe, print out your website, or just write directly in your book. Get your pencil. You like my giant pencil? And just go down the line and cut everything in half and write it in there. That way you're not making a mistake. Your cooking directions are most likely going to be the same. It's maybe a little bit less, right? But your ingredients, if you half it, it's way easier. And if I were to go down this list here and cut it in half, it's like, okay, instead of 2 tablespoons butter, 1 tablespoon butter. Instead of 2 teaspoons garlic, 1 teaspoon garlic. Instead of a 24-ounce can of pasta sauce, I'm going to use half the can. Instead of 2 cups of broth, 1 cup of broth. Do you see where I'm going with this? A lot easier to just cut it in half. But here's where a lot of people get trippy or tricked up. Excuse me, I'm getting excited. And that comes to when you're over on the side here and you're talking about servings. Now, this recipe happens to serve 6. It says that there. So if you cut it in half, that's going to serve 3. Okay, that was easy. But the net carbs amount is going to stay the same. And I think that's what people get confused. They go, oh, well, how many net carbs then if I cut it in half? Net carbs are going to stay the same because that's per serving. The amount of net carbs is per serving, not for the total recipe. I'll say that one more time. The amount of net carbs in the Dirty Lazy Keto recipes that are written right there, that's per serving. So if you serve 6 people, each of those 6 people are having a bowl of soup. That's 6 grams. If you cut the recipe in half and you only serve 3 people, each of those 3 people are going to have a bowl of soup, which is, did you get it right? 6 grams of net carbs per serving. It's the same. So that stays the same. Hopefully that is clear now. So keep that tip in mind. Just cut the recipe in half. You are going to be much more successful and less frustrated if you do that. Any questions? This is my scissors. I hope that helps because I do get that question all the time. And I know you want me to do a cookbook for one. I hear you. I'll think about it. I got a big list of things I want to do. It's like my life is too short. I have so many great ideas. I want to help everybody with everything. And it gets me excited. So bear with me. I'm trying. Tip number 7, we're going to go through 8. So we're almost at the end here. So tip number 7 is I encourage you to, with meal prepping for one, invest in flash frozen foods. Now you're like, what are flash frozen foods? Okay, much more dramatic than this little guy. How about this one? Flash frozen foods. Here's my lightning bolt. Flash frozen. If you are not familiar with flash frozen, that is where an item is all by itself in the packaging and it's frozen where it doesn't stick to the others. So it could be loose in a package, okay? It could be like, for example, here is a whole bunch of items. I put these in here. But they're not like frozen together in a clump. They're separate. And that's what flash frozen means. And why this is important for folks that are meal prepping for one person is they can just pull out the one thing they want. They're not all clumped together. You're not pulling out, a tray of chicken with 8,000 pounds all glued together and glued to the bottom, which is complicated. Would you agree? So I know that is going to be helpful. By the way, you're probably wondering what these are. These are little bagels. And that recipe is inside the new book, the Extra Easy Keto book. I got to put 10 recipes in there, and this is one of them. Oh, so good. I think this is the first time I've told anyone that. That was top secret. I know there's a temptation to want to buy like frozen meals when it comes to this point with the frozen. We're talking about frozen. But I think, yes, these are an option. Like Real Good makes a variety of different things. Here's their broccoli and cheese. They've got their enchiladas. They've got chicken nuggets. They've got all sorts of fun stuff. You can do that. You can go down that route. However, I really do think that you can meal prep for one without having to buy expensive meals. Also, when we buy meals, we have a tendency to get mad at them. Oh, they're too expensive. Oh, I don't have them with me. Oh, I can't do it. Blah, blah, blah. I can't do it unless I have my frozen meals. And then it's like Jenny Craig all over again. You know what I mean with the meals? Let's learn how to make a few basic items and then meal prep for yourself so you can be successful without having to rely on a crutch like that. Maybe as a treat once in a while, or if you like them, I think that's great. But relying on them all the time, I think, that's where we get ourselves into some trouble, right? You can easily make a few items like turkey burgers and put them in a little Tupperware, or hamburgers, or make some ground round and set it aside in different containers and be ready to go for yourself. That way, you're not having to do takeout or whatever. Now, certainly there are some vegetables and some side dishes that lend themselves more to the flash frozen than others, but you can even do it yourself. If you're not shopping at the store for these items, reaching in here, seeing what I have, you can also freeze these yourself. Like here are egg bites, for example. Those are easy to make and to portion out and then just pop them in the microwave when you're ready to eat. And frozen vegetables too. I'm so happy that at Costco they brought back the frozen cauliflower, rice cauliflower. It was gone for a while and I was very sad. But it's back. Hallelujah. And inside their packaging, they have like 5 little pouches. And it may say it's for 5 people or whatever, but I'll eat that whole thing in one sitting. I don't play when it comes to my vegetables. So I do encourage you to double whatever recipe it is you're making. Make that half or half the recipe of what's called for in the cookbooks, and then just freeze some of that stuff for later. Because that brings us to number 8, which is kind of a fun tip. You might think this one's silly, but I'm all about the silliness. And this one's called Forget About It. I should have like a red string. Forget about it. You're like, what? Maybe she forgot. Just kidding. Okay. Make it a habit, you guys. Whenever you're cooking or eating anything delicious at all, make it a habit to always freeze at least one portion. At least one. Doesn't have to be pretty. I showed you here in my example. And freeze it. Throw it in the freezer and enjoy it later. Of course, you want to date it. This one's dated January 24th. See how responsible I am? 2023. Turkey chili. So instead of like finishing it off for lunch the next day or a third day, I put it in a Ziploc. I'm going to put it at the bottom of my freezer, right next to my little zucchini cupcakes that I made for another day. I don't know when I made these. And I'm going to have this for a surprise lunch or dinner one day, and I'll be so thrilled because that day I won't have to do anything. I'll be like, I'm hangry. I'm just by myself trying to eat some lunch or dinner, and then I'll just be like, bam, go to the freezer. I'll have this lightning bolt moment where I'll see I just need something for myself or one person, and I'm going to have a meal ready to go, and I'm going to be so happy. So I want that for you too. These are the strategies that helped me lose 140 pounds. They work. Don't overthink it. Don't be all stressed and, trying to be perfect. It's the perfect people that don't last, but the people who keep it real, keeping it real, we're the ones that are going to do the long haul, right? The long haul. We're going to get to the finish line together. So I'm here to support you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to Dirty Lazy Keto on YouTube. There's new videos added every week. Grab the books at your library or on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, wherever you like to shop for books. And check out the podcast. You can download those through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, I said that one. Basically, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. You can even ask Alexa, which I have to say is quietly because she'll start talking. But you can even ask Alexa, play the latest episode of the Dirty Lazy Keto podcast. And she'll start playing one of my songs. It's hilarious. So anyway, make sure you're joining all these things. That way, no matter where you're at, if you're in the Facebook group, you're on Instagram, you can still find me. We can still be supportive of one another. We can still cheer each other on, right? You can see what I'm eating for breakfast or lunch or dinner. And then there's the podcast. I think I have the same shirt on. But that way we're a community and we're helping each other. We're cheering each other on. And then we're successful because it takes a village. You can't be doing this all by yourself. Like, I'm cooking for one and I'm angry because my family's eating pizza. No, you need to have that cheerleader in the background like, yay, you can do it. You can do it. Woohoo. Like, I want to be that person for you. Like, woo, you can do it. Defrost that chicken. I want to be as excited as you are about this process. And then your family will slowly turn the ship and follow you because that's how it works. They are always very hesitant at first and they need a little time to adjust. So give them time. So I love you guys. I'm thankful that you stayed the whole video. And please tell me what comment or what idea, what strategy is going to work best for you. And share your ideas, please. Share. Because if you don't share, then it's just me going blah, blah, blah. We have different thoughts. Give us what's working for you and ask questions, comments. And that way we can all help one another through this. Next video, remember, is Easy Keto Diet Cooking Tips for Beginners. So stay tuned and give yourself a round of applause. You did it. 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 Da, 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 da. Are we dancing? We're dancing. We're dancing. Dancing. Good job, everyone.